Hi guys, my name is Imran and we're going to talk about how to upload an image onto your website as well as how to insert it into the database and how to display that image. Okay, so this is the page I've created and I'll explain to you how does that work. Okay, so it basically takes the username. For example, I put the username as Dan and I choose a file, let's say this one, and I click. Okay, and then I click on upload. As you can see, this file has been successfully uploaded. Okay, so how do we create this particular file? Okay, right, so what we need to do is we need to first create a folder which is called WP image form. So this is a folder that I have created here. If you go over here, yeah, so this is the folder I've created, upload image. Okay, and if you open it, you can, sorry, this one, upload image form. Okay, if you open it, you can see there is a folder you need to create which is called uploads. Okay, where you will have your default picture, right? So you have your default picture, this, so you can download a default picture from the website and then you can put it here and save it as profile default. Okay, and then you can also, all the images that user uploads, like for example the one I just uploaded here, goes into this uploads folder. So uploads folder will have all the images, it will have the profile image, and it will have all of the images that user uploads. Okay, then I've created a style.css, index.php, functions.php, and database connection.php. So these are the 4 files in one folder I've created, and this is what you need to create. Okay, and then I'll explain to you how that works. The first file we've created is a database connection. So we need to connect to the database. So in this file, we've written a code. $con is equal to new mysqli. As you know, mysqli is a class. The moment you write an object name is equal to new, it instantiates the class and makes an object, and the con will have all the properties of this mysqli class. So if you check on php.net, mysqli, so you can see this is the class and all the properties and all the methods will be available once you instantiate this class and the create an object called con. So in this way we get connected to the database and if we are successfully connected, then if con is equal to true, because con is going to return true if it is connected. Okay, if it is true, then database echo database connection successful. Okay, all right, now we need to include this file. Okay, we need to include this file in our index.php. So you can see I've included this file, include once database con.php. What this will do is this will build a connection with the database. Then we also create a functions.php and we include it here using require once. Okay, and all the functions goes here. We don't want to mix the HTML and the PHP as much as possible, so which is why we put all our functions here to make it easier to manage and read. Okay, so we create this particular file here, the HTML tag and the head, just done some styling, not much. So the idea is not to show you the style but to tell you how the process works. Okay, then I've created a form with action is equal to $_server PHP self. So as you know, this is a global, super global variable, and $_server, which actually displays the URL of the same page. So if I do over here echo $_server, Okay, I need to take this off, this escaping. I need to put that in the PHP tag. Okay, so as you can see, one second. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, it gives the URL of the same page, which is index.php, upload image form index.php. So when the form is submitted, it will take us to the same page. It is not going to take us to any other page. That's what goes inside action. Method is equal to post enc type multipart / form data. So this is important whenever we are uploading any file or images. It is important that we define this field, this property, which is enc type multipart. Okay. Now, then we create a label for username, name username, input type is equal to text, name is equal to username. Then we define a label for file, input file, name file. Okay. So whenever we define input as file, it gives us this option and gives us this option to choose between different files that we have. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, then we have a button, submit, this button here. Value is submit, sorry, name is submit, type is submit, and we put that as upload. Okay, so I've created this form, and so when the user submits the form, there'll be two things that will be available. First, we'll have the $_post available. So I'm just going to echo that over here so you can see. Print r $_post. Okay. And there is another global, super global variable that we'll have, which will be files. Okay, so the input that user does, which is the username from here, and the submit information, this all goes in $_post, and the file the user uploads, all the information of that file goes under $_files, super globals. Okay, so let's print that and see what happens. So right now we don't have anything, that's why it's an empty array. Okay, so we can just write over here echo $_post. So this is the $_post, and the next one will be for $_files. Okay, I'll just use a BR tag just so that it's more clear. Right, I think BR tag should go here. Here as well. So just more readable. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so let's try and upload something. Let's say I put a username as fan. I select the picture over here, open, upload. Right. So you can see the picture is uploaded, the username is here, and we have got an array. Let's make this array more visible. So if you use a pre-tag on top, then it will make the array more readable. Yep, that's fine. So as you can see over here that in $_post we've got username as fan, um, and in $_files we have all this information. So this file is the file name which comes from here. Yeah, this one comes from here, and then we have name, which is my photo cycling.jpg, and that is the picture that I had uploaded from there. Okay, and then the type of the image, this is the type of the image, which is image/jpeg, and then temp name. So basically what happens is whenever you upload an image using this form, the image gets stored at a temporary location, and this is the location: applications, map, temp, php, and so on. And this basically means that if there is any error, then this will change to 1. Okay, and then this size is in bytes. Okay, so it's these many bytes. Okay, so these are all the information. Basically the $_ file gives you the associative array of all this information. Okay, now since we've got all this information, got the username, we've got the name of the file, type, temp name, error size, etc. We've got all this information. Now we're going to make use of these information. What we want to do is that we want to first create a database. Okay, so I've already created a database. I'm sure you know how to create one. You can do it through command line, like I've done over here. You can write create database, and then name of the database, image, upload. We're gonna hit enter. Once you do that, the database will be created, and then use this database, use image upload, and if you hit enter, then that database will be selected, and then you create a table which is users. So create table users, and then we need to create these fields as ID. Okay, ID integer 11, then not null, primary key, auto increment. Okay, so this will create this field, which is ID, and it will automatically get incremented. You don't have to put a value inside that. Next, we create a username field, which will be a varchar. Say we give it 200 characters. That's not null. The last one is the image, that will take the image name. So basically what we're trying to do over here is that we're trying to create a table with these fields. Okay, and once we do that, whenever the user uploads an image, we are going to insert the name of the image in this field. Okay, so that, and we're going to move the image from the temp folder, which is here, the temp folder. We're going to move the image from temp folder to our own folder, which is uploads. Okay, and at the same time we're also going to go ahead and insert the name of this image into our database, which is here in this field. Okay, so this will take the name of the image. Okay, and whenever the user is logged in, for example, then we are going to do a query, run a query. We will find out that username and what image name it has, and we're going to search that image into our database, and we're going to display that. That's something we're trying to accomplish over here. Okay. All right. So in command line, if you hit enter over here, this will create this table with these fields: ID, username, and image. Okay. Now, all right. Now, if we go over here into our functions.php, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called current username, and we don't assign any value, keep it null. Okay, and later on we're going to use this username because we might need to check which user it is at any point in these functions, so this will help us access it globally. Anyway, okay, the first condition we check is set $_post submit, which means has the user clicked on submit. Has he? Submit means here if he has clicked on upload. If he has, then we'll use this global variable and we'll assign it to the username. Okay, so this will be equal to fan. Okay, let's say. Then we have the file, okay, which is this. It is an array. We'll store this array into file array. Okay, we'll store this name file because it is an associative array, so we select the first option, which is file, then we select the name, which is here, and we store this value into a variable called file name. Similarly, we store the other values like type, temp name, error, size, all of this into these variable respectively, which is file type, file temp name, file error, file size, etc. And we're going to use them. Okay, now as you can see over here, this is a JPEG file. Now the user might want to upload a different type of image. Now because it's an image, we would want to limit it. We can't just allow him to put a PHP file or a JavaScript file. It has to be an image file. So we're going to create an array which is allowed files. Okay, variable array. Okay, which will give the user this many information. In fact, let's remove PDF. We can't. Okay, so JPEG, JPG, PNG. We've created this array which has these file types that we can accept. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this file name, which is this, my photo cycling, and we're going to grab this part. To grab this part, first we're going to explode this. We're going to use the explode function, and we're going to separate this my photo cycling with JPG. You want to separate that. So if you echo it over here, in fact, print our file extension. Yep, you can see. Okay, let me just make it more readable. Echo pre-tag. Cool. So you can see my photo cycling.jpg. So what this explode function is doing over here, it's separating this my photo cycling with JPG separately and converting in form of an array. And then we are going to take we're going to convert this information into small letters using the string to lower functions, and we're going to use the end function, which is basically going to give me the last item of the array. Okay, so this file extension is this array, and this is going to grab the last part, which is JPG. So this is how we get the extension of the file the user is trying to upload. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so now since we've got this JPG, okay, if you echo over here, file extension final, you can see we've got this JPG. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got that information. We've got this JPG from here. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to first check if the size of the file is right, because the user might want to upload a file which is extremely heavy. We can't allow the user to do that. Okay, so which is why we're going to first call this function, which is write file size. this function is defined here, which takes the file size information, which is this. So this gives us the size of the file that user is trying to upload in form of bytes. So we're going to check if these many bytes, which means file size should not be greater than this size. If it is, then return true, otherwise just echo that file size is too large. Please upload a file size of 500 KB. Let's try that. So if I try to upload this file, see what happens. File size is too large, please upload a file size less than 500 kilobytes. Okay, you got that error message. Cool. Now next function, again we check a condition if is no file uploading error, which means there should not be any error in uploading the file, which means we want to check if this is equal to 0. So this function is defined here. It takes file error variable, which is equal to this. Okay. So it checks if file error is equal to 0, return true, otherwise return that there is an error on your uploading the file. Okay. Now the next condition we check is file correct extension. So what we were trying to do here is checking whether the file that the user is trying to upload should be having either of this extension only. So if we try to upload any other file, let's say functions.php, this type of file is not allowed. So that's the function which is defined here as file correct extension. It takes file extension final, which is this information, and allowed files array of the files that are allowed. So file extension final is basically the JPG, this part, PHP is checking this part against this array. So in this function we check in array, which means if PHP, which is the file extension final, exists in the allowed file arrays, which is this here. If it exists, then return true, otherwise echo an error message saying that this type of file is not allowed. Okay, so once we've checked all these conditions, then we call the upload file function. You must be wondering, why are we declaring so many functions? It's just to make the code really readable and user friendly, so that later on, 10 days later, or a year later, if you look back at the codes that you had written, it should tell you what it is doing. Otherwise, if you just put all the codes all together, then later on you might not be able to recollect as to what is doing what. Okay, so it's important that you go ahead and use the right functions. Okay, now the upload file function, what does it do? Well, let's see. Okay, it takes file name, which is this file name. Then it takes the file temp name, which is this information, which means what we're trying to do is trying to get the temporary location and trying to upload it to the desired location, which is uploads folder. Then takes the username, okay, and it takes con, which is a global, sorry, not global, it's an object that we had declared, which will allow us to access all the properties of the mysql class. Now, then what we do over here, we create a unique ID. Why are we creating a unique ID? If you see, when we had uploaded these files, so these have a different you can see this, all these random numbers. Why are we doing this? Why can't we just write my photo cycling? Why do we have to add that? It is because if the user is trying to upload their own image, okay, but in our uploads folder we already have an image, a different image with the same name, it is not going to work. So it is important that we add a unique ID before that. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do over here. File name, we take a variable, we use unique ID function. This is the prefix, which means not prefixing with anything. This true means that it's going to give a, this is the timestamp basically. It's going to give us the timestamp after the of the current time after the decimal, so it will always be unique. And dot file name, which means we're going to concatenate the file name. As you can see, it's here. It's myphotocycling.jpg. Okay, so we've got the unique file name. Then the file destination. This variable is equal to uploads, which means this folder uploads slash file name unique. So it's going to concatenate the uploads. It's basically going to give us the path where it needs to be uploaded, destination. Okay, then we're going to check if the user exists before we upload this file, because otherwise if we don't check whether when the user is trying to give their username over here, and if we have multiple users with the same name and we keep uploading the file, it's not going to be the right thing to do. So first we need to check if the database already has another user with the same name or not. And if it's not, then we will upload the file and insert it into database. So this function, again, we have defined this function, does user exist? It's here. Okay, so it takes username and con object. We run a SQL query, select all from users. User is basically the table name. Yeah, user is the table name, where username is equal to username, which means we're trying to check. Run a query through the entire table and check for all users wherein the username field is equal to username that we are trying to run the query with. Okay, so this username is basically coming from here, current username. Okay, so then we go ahead and store this result using mysql query function. Sorry, it's gone. Yeah, mysql query function. Okay, this function basically takes two parameters, con and SQL. Okay, and result, this will show as true if it's able to find the user. Okay, and then row, we store this value into row using the function mysql fetch so, and we use this result. Okay, so this basically is going to return an array of the result, and if the array has the value, then return true. Return true, which means the user exists. So we're using not, which means if the user does not exist, which means if this is false, then go ahead and execute this code and insert the user into the database and also upload the file into the uploads folder. Okay, so we use this function, which is move upload file. This function basically moves the file from one location to another. So file, we're trying to move the image file from file temp name, which is this here. We are trying to move from this location to this location, file destination, which is here. Okay, so uploads oblique and file name, we're trying to move it to this location. Okay, so this will move it to this location, which means once we upload the file, then it will be moved. Okay, so just like to show that to you in action. So let's say cos user shows the file. The pictures, let's pick up this image, upload it, and if you go back to your folder, see, you got this image over here. Okay, it's been added. All right, next. So after moving the file from the temporary location to the destination folder that we have, which is uploads, we also need to put this file name into our database. So we use the query insert into users, which means this table, insert into this table, username image, Username should be equal to username, which means the username is coming from here, this username. And then the file name unique, which is this file name, basically this file name. Okay, so we are going to insert these two values into the database. Okay, and result mysql query con SQL. If the result is true, which means if this has been successfully inserted, then echo a message saying data successfully inserted into database, otherwise error in inserting the data. So the last thing that we did was data successfully inserted into database, file successfully uploaded. We're also echoing a message over here. Okay. And if the user already exists, then echo this message saying that user already exists. So if you see, if I try to upload a picture again with the same username, it says user already exists. It's not going to give me, not going to allow me to insert the value of the user and the picture. Cool. All right. So that's that. So you've got everything there. Now the last thing that you want to do is to display this picture. So you've got everything up and running. We just want to display that picture. So how do we display it? So this is this basically a part is coming from this code, which says div class, and then using PHP tags. We are using this function display user profile image. This is my user defined function, and we passing the con object into it, and we're going to see what this function does. So we go back to our functions. Right, so this will take con. Okay. Again, we will take the global variable current username, which means we're going to check it against this username. We'll check if the form has been submitted. If it is, we'll run a query, select image, which means run a query for all image names. Okay, and check users where username is equal to current username. So basically we check, these are the information we have inserted. We have inserted the users, we've inserted the image name as well. So we'll run a query where username is equal to username. Okay, and the result will be my SQLite query con SQL. If the match is found, then it will give me an array of rows which will have all this information. Just to make it easier, let me print this for you. Print row. You can see over here what's happening. In fact, let's make it more readable. Yep. See, so you got this image, so which means we have the result. That's why you can see this image over here. Okay. Right. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Now, if the file exists, it's also important to check whether or not we have that file, that image, into our uploads folder, because sometimes someone deletes it, then you're going to get an error message or probably something weird. It's better to check it. So file exists function basically checks if the file exists. So this is basically we're giving the path of that file here, uploads raw image. Then if it does exist, then go ahead and echo this image tag, which will have uploads, the destination and the folder where the file exists, and raw image, which is the file name. Okay, width 100, height 100, because we don't want to display images with different size, so it has to be the same. Okay, then if the file does not exist, then show the default image function. So what does this default image function does? It just displays the default image. So you can see over here echoes the image tag, and source is coming from uploads profile default JPG. So this profile default image. this default. Okay. Right, and if all of this is not true, which means if user profile image does not exist in the database, show the default image. Okay. And otherwise also, if for example, if there's nothing is found, then also show the default image only. Okay. Right, and we also display the username. Okay, over here. This username. This code is coming from here. Okay, that's pretty much it. So let's get rid of all the extra things that we typed. Yep. So that's working. Okay. So I hope you liked the video and tried as much as possible to explain it. The first time I learned it, I had to really spend a lot of time in finding this information. So I thought I'll make a video for you guys so you can learn it all in one go. All right. Thank you very much.